he would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
You make me happy. I had to sing it anyway, Terry. I don't take direction well. Thank y'all for joining us on the Habitual Line Steppers podcast, y'all. I am Garrett Charles Langley Henson.
And I'm Terry Carter Taylor II. What is up, my guy?
Yes, sir. We're back, baby. What's up is y'all may have noticed that we changed some things around, played around with the intro a bit, made Charlie Murphy a little bit more prominent, shall we say, since this is the Habitual Line Steppers after all.
Yeah, man.
But Terry, this week, all the best teams in the NBA are going to be stepping in between those lines on the hardwood as they square off for the NBA playoffs. This is what we've been looking forward to all season long. It's finally here. Let's start off with the Eastern Conference. We're going to give our preview for each series, East and West, but we're only going to do it by addressing one question each, Terry. So we each prepared a list of questions for each one of these series. Terry, what is your first question for the series between the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks?
So my overall question is, are we sleeping on the Heat? But the question for this series is Trae Young a superstar or is Trae Young just a star? That's my question for this series. Because if he's just going to play like a star, they're going to lose sweep and they're just gone. And we forget about the Hawks. And his legacy takes a really big hit because, in a way, he scored 8 games in the playoff game. So that messes you up, like, big time.
8 points. Yeah. Game.
What'd I say?
You said 8 games.
Oh,
but, yeah, for everyone who missed it, Trae Young had the worst game of his entire life in the first-round matchup against the Heat. In Game 1, he scored 8 points the entire game. Kevin Knox scored more points in that playoff game than Trae Young did, Terry. I never thought I'd say that sentence.
That's crazy, bro. That's absolutely insane. But, I mean, he had a bad game. I think overall, though, for him, he just looked tired, bro. Because I don't think, the Heat didn't let him in the paint. Like, they didn't really let him drive much. So it was a lot of perimeter shots that were just pointless. But, sometimes that's his game. Like, he just shoots a lot of perimeter shots. I'm not going to say, each shot was contested. Each shot was heavily contested. They weren't. He just missed some shots. He missed an easy floater. It was just a couple bad shots. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see anything crazy that, I would worry about.
I agree with you, man. I think the way that he takes that next step to superstardom is he's got to show off 2 things at this level that he hasn't really, and that'll kind of take his game to the next step. The first one is moving off the ball. Yeah. When the ball is not in his hands, Trae Young is very James Harden-y in that he just, John Wally, that he just kind of stands there and then waits to get it back.
Yeah, very stagnant.
You watch Steph Curry, as soon as he gives the ball up, he's in perpetual motion, flying around screens, relocating, and now the entire defense has to not only watch the ball, they got to watch where Steph Curry is because you can't allow him to get a wide open jump shot. And there's been 0 of that with Trae Young and the Hawks. Yeah. So that's the first thing he has to do is weaponize himself off the ball because he's 5'10". You're not going to make any impact as a cutter.
Nope.
Standing there with your hands on your knees is not going to get it done against the dude who you called the Defensive Player of the Year in Bam Adebayo.
Bam is a beast.
The second thing Trae has to do in this series is stop unnecessarily switching on defense. A lot of times you'll see he'll take those long threes or he'll drive to the cup and think that he gets a foul. He'll spend 2 seconds talking to the ref, pleading on the call, and then he'll have to switch onto a power forward or something in transition. Then he'll switch on the power forward and then realize, oh, fuck, I can't guard this guy. And be like, hey, DeAndre, you get over here and guard him. And then in that switch, we give up a wide open 3.
Yeah.
That's got to stop.
Yeah.
If he can't improve on those 2 things, he will stay a star. The Hawks will lose this series in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, essentially y'all are in trouble anyways. There's no scenario in which you guys win unless he scores 40 and gets 10 assists every single game. And I don't really see that happening because, Miami has Kyle Lowry, they have Jimmy Butler, and they also have PJ Tucker. They have good perimeter defenders. So it's not going to be easy. And I mean, of course, I think best scenario was last year, we would say. Philly had Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle. But now there's a third option. So those two guys aren't going to be like Ben Simmons has to play majority of the game, so he was tired of shit. Trae Young's not going to stop, but Miami's got three guys that can constantly rotate within their actual rotation team, and that's going to be tough on Trae Young, man. It's just going to be tough. Bro.
Yeah.
But yes,
Well, Terry, that brings me to my first question then, and our second question for this series. Can Clint Capela and John Collins return to give the Hawks an advantage on the boards? Clint Capela hyperextended his knee in the play-in game against the Cavaliers. He didn't return to that game. Didn't play game 1 against the Heat. MRI showed no structural damage, though, and he's going to be reevaluated on Thursday. So he could possibly play the last, game 3 on.
Yeah.
John Collins has not played the last 2 months of the season. He has like a blood tumor in his middle finger that's like the size of a golf ball. And he had a high ankle sprain. He toughed it out and returned to court, played like 12 minutes against the Heat in game 1. But that's my big question, man. The Heat, they start a 6'8" guy in Bam Adebayo at center and a 6'5" guy in PJ Tucker at power forward.
Yep.
And that's going to be the one place where the Hawks can have an advantage if everyone's healthy, with having Gallinari, John Collins, and Clint Capela as well. So what do you think, Terry? Do you think that a rusty John Collins and a hobbled Clint Capela can turn the tide on the boards for the Hawks?
Man. I mean, I think you can turn the tide on the boards, but at the end of the day, you lost by almost, 30 points? Close to 30.
Hey, wait a minute, though. We've seen that before, like blowouts in game 1, and then the other team wins the series. Especially like the Nuggets-Clippers joint, remember? And we had – well, it seems like the Clippers are always involved in some way, shape, or form when we talk about these games. But there's a couple other instances as well where it's like, oh, you get blown out in game 1. Even the Bucks-Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Game 1, we ran them out of the building, won by 30. We were throwing alley-oops off the backboard to John Collins.
No, I remember.
Changed the rest of the series.
Yeah, hey, look, we're not going to sit here and do the overreaction Monday shit, but it was only a 10-point disadvantage for you guys. I mean, of course, it'll swing the other way, but if Trae Young doesn't play better, that's the main question. Yeah, I think the rebounding will help. Ultimately, it's just Trae Young, and that's it. If he doesn't play better, you're not going to win. And even if he does play excellent, you might win that game. But if he plays great, you still might lose. So it's like, what can you do? You're a one-man team, and that's pretty much how it's going to go, unless someone else steps up.
I got a final comment on this series, Terry.
What's that?
It's not a question. The team that makes their threes is going to win. The Heat were the number 1 three-pointing shooting team in the whole league this year. The Hawks were number 2. The Hawks didn't make any of their threes game 1. The Heat shot over 50%.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat have 3 guys in Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, and PJ Tucker who are all in the top 10 in three-point percentage this year.
Yeah.
The Hawks didn't have like the supernova guys that were like shot over 40%, but everyone on the team shoots like at least 38.
Yeah.
Can Herro, Tucker, and Robinson stay hot throughout this series? Because if those 3 stop falling, now really the only person who is scoring in the half court is Tyler Herro or Bam Adebayo.
Not Jimmy Butler?
He didn't do shit in game 1. I think, honestly, DeAndre Hunter on Jimmy Butler is a decent matchup for us. I actually like that matchup.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't know, man. It's just tough because, like, it's not one singular person that's just destroying teams. Like, for them, it's just different guys each night, it seems like. Like, it could be Herro, it can be Robinson, it can be Butler, it could be Lowry, it can be Adebayo. Like,
it could be fucking Max Strus. He comes in and hits 6 threes.
They don't,
and we haven't even seen Oladipo.
Yeah, they don't care. Like, they are similar to like Spurs teams, and they're similar to like the Pistons teams that used to win back in the day. They don't care who beats you. They really don't. It doesn't matter. They're an unselfish team, and their identity is defense. So at the end of the day, whoever scores, it doesn't matter. Can they get buckets? That's all that matters. And I think their guys can get a collective amount of buckets more than you guys who have great offensive players. It's just for some reason they just have never clicked this season, and they didn't click yesterday.
Yeah. Beyond the offense, Terry, the Heat are filled with gritty, tough, high basketball IQ guys, and they play a winning brand of basketball that's competitive. The Hawks have a bunch of talented guys who, their mentality is, if we give up a layup, we will get a three right back on the next possession.
Yeah.
And ultimately, there's only so far that can take you. This year, it looks like that's round one against the Miami Heat.
Yep, that's about it. That's our prediction. Heat, they got it. If it's in 4, if it's in 5.
Are you going 5, 6, 4? You bringing the brooms out, Terry? You bringing the brooms out already?
It's probably 5. But I mean, you've watched this team. This is your favorite team. This is your home team. Hawks your squad. They just don't got it this year, man. It just didn't click.
I'm just praying for Utah to fuck up so we can get Donovan Mitchell. Me and you both, right, Mr. New York Nick?
Yeah.
All right, Terry. Well, let's jet on over to a city right near New York where a superstar just became disgruntled and forced to trade there. Of course, I'm talking about James Harden and Philadelphia. They take on the Toronto Raptors in the first round. The Sixers took game one, Terry. Tyrese Maxey was the big story, scoring like 35 points, being absolutely unguardable, and kind of cementing his place in that big three like we had talked about earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But I'll give you my biggest question for this series, Terry, and this is an obvious one.
What's that?
Will the real James Harden please stand up? What James Harden are we getting?
Facilitating James. We're not gonna get the same type of James, bro. That guy, he loves the strip club, man. He loves the party life. He loves nightlife. He's not gonna be the same, dude. He's one of those dudes. He's the Iverson of our generation. Getting stupid buckets, regular season is fine. But as soon as they turn 29, 30, 31, the decline is imminent. It's just going to be. I will
say Iverson did take that team all the way to the finals.
I mean, James Harden and Chris Paul went to the Western Conference Finals in a tough West. I'll give them that. But
yeah, AI also didn't have Chris Paul.
We're also going to say this, though. Ultimately, Iverson never really played outstanding in the playoffs. But he doesn't get that narrative because he just kept going and going and going. It just seems like when James Harden, when his way isn't going, he just quits. But ultimately, if you look at their numbers, they're just similar. And even when AI went to the finals, my man was making 28, 29 a game, but his shooting percentage was like 38%, 37%. It's very similar to James Harden shit. If James Harden just keeps shooting, he can get the numbers, he can get the points. But his shooting percentage is way less than what it is in the regular season. I don't know which James Harden we're going to get. I don't. He's Houdini, bro. My man is shit. I don't know what I'm going to get from this guy.
Remember when he got traded and everyone was talking about Kobe and Shaq with him and Embiid?
Yep. I remember. Idiotic.
Idiotic. He's the biggest question mark in the whole playoffs. It's James Harden.
Of course, yeah.
If we get the Brooklyn version of Darren Williams, I think they lose to the Raptors.
Nah, I don't.
If we get the Nets version of James Harden from last season, where he was averaging like 10.8 assists, then they go through.
Yeah. Here's the thing for me, the ultimate question. The Raptors really don't have anyone to guard Embiid. And we've seen that the Raptors still have great team defense. But Embiid still dominated the game without scoring.
First of all,
don't
you ever disrespect Kem Birch like that ever again.
I'm disrespected every one of the Raptors. Come on. Stop it.
Come on, man. He was the former fifth big man on the Magic. What do you mean he can't guard Embiid?
Oh, my God. Get out of here. It's over, bro. He's too big.
Your point is a very valid one. But I think this is going to definitely be offset by Nick Nurse's gigantic coaching advantage over Nurse Rivers. I didn't even notice. We got the Nurse against the Doc this series, Terry. The Master against the Apprentice. And I'm putting my money on Nurse when it comes to tactical adjustments. I think the Raptors, if you notice their team, when they don't play Fred VanVleet, they put out these lineups where everyone is 6'7" to 6'9" with at least a 6'9" wingspan. That's cool. I've said this before. That looks to me like the future of basketball. Switching everything, having 5 guys who could dribble, pass, shoot, and play defense. I think the Raptors double Embiid on the catch going forward, and they bet on knowing their rotations and having enough length to shrink those spaces and those windows that they have to fit those passes through. I think they're like, Embiid, you're not going to beat us. We're going to make Harden and Maxey and everyone Tobias Harris beat us. We're not going to do the Shaq strategy and let you get 60. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at them and see if the Sixers can win with their basketball IQ and they're beating a shifting rotation, which is not their game.
It's not ultimately, but that was what I saw with Embiid yesterday, though. Like, he didn't force it. Every time there was a double, he never forced it. He never, like, immediately just, got frantic. He's way better on double teams than he used to be. My man just waited for it to come, passed it, and his teammates made the right plays. As long as, like, Maxey and Harden are going to be more aggressive, like either driving and kicking, this is going to be I'm not going to say sweep because the Raptors are really good, like, defensively, and they're decent offensively. Like, they got a bunch of guys that can score. But ultimately, we saw Scotty Barnes. He might be out. Embiid.
First of all, Embiid is targeting this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was like, golly, this got to be like a yellow card for Embiid for persistent fouling on the same player. Like, he stepped all over his ankle. He smacked him in the face. He elbowed the motherfucker. He identified early who the threat was going to be on the Raptors. And he was like, we're going to pull the Tubby Smith. Get him up out of here.
That's true. Well, ultimately, so me and you had the same question pretty much. Which Harden we're going to see? That was exactly my question. But I'll say this. You're right in a way that, like, the future of basketball is a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" guys that can, like, pretty much do everything. But in this NBA, when the 3 best players in the league, it seems like, 4, you can count Durant too. He's also a 7-footer. He's just a freak. If they're people that can just punish you in the post, this shit ain't gonna work out for you. You can't do it like that. You have to have somebody that can, like, give you 6 fouls. And the Raptors just don't have a big guy that can stop him.
His name is Kem Birch and Chris Boucher.
Nah. Boucher is 200 pounds. He's getting put inside.
6 fouls. That's what I'm saying. The problem with Boucher is he's going to spend all 6 in the first quarter. But that's not important.
Now the thing is, like, you need somebody bigger than that, though. Like, those guys just aren't big enough, bro. It's just too easy. Like, Embiid knows that he can get a bucket anytime he wants. This is a perfect series for him because he literally can just conserve his energy until he needs to get a bucket, and then he can just get a bucket when he wants to. Like, that game was easy as fuck for them. They beat them by, what, 30? That was an easy game.
They did.
It was nothing.
But we know about game ones, and that was in Philadelphia. And Terry, I did have another question for this series.
What's that?
What will the impact of not having Matisse Thybulle be on the Sixers defense? Terry, I don't know if you know this, but Matisse Thybulle did get the vaccine, but did not get his boosters, deciding instead that, like, COVID's pretty much done. I don't see any reason to get these fucking boosters.
Yeah.
In Canada, you got to have the shot and the boosters to play. Yeah. So he will not be on the plane for 3 of these games.
Yep.
As clearly their best perimeter defender and one of the 5 best defenders in the entire league, this is definitely going to have an impact. Do you think that changes the geometry of the floor for them in the games that he's not there?
It's definitely going to change defensively. I mean, offensively, he's not, like, the best shooter, the best decision maker, I would say. But ultimately, that does hurt them on the defensive end because there's really no one to replace his defense. Like, he's a guy that he doesn't even play 20 minutes a game. Do we even know? Like, maybe 20.
He plays like 25, yeah.
And he's a defensive player of the year type of dude. And he doesn't even get the minutes to show, like, everything that he can do. Once he can, like, click offensively, we know what type of guy he is. So you can't just replace him with anyone. That's irreplaceable. That being said, James Harden and Embiid, it's up to you guys. You got to win the games in Philly, and I don't want no excuses from some bench dude. I don't give a fuck. You have to win the games in Philly, and you got to beat Toronto. They don't have anyone to guard Embiid. Embiid was an MVP candidate. You have to win the games. This is where you show who you are in the playoffs. Don't care about the regular season, bro. You got to dominate these games, bro. There's no one that can guard you. You have to dominate. What would Shaq do? You know what I'm saying? What would Tim Duncan do? Someone literally couldn't.
Shaq would get 8 rebounds or 8 points a quarter, just like on schedule, 4 rebounds a quarter. Next thing you know, you look up at the box sheet, I got 32 and 12.
There you go. I mean, bro, honest to God, if there's someone on the other team that doesn't even weigh 250, like this shouldn't even be a conversation. Like it should not be.
So you're taking the Sixers in?
It'll probably be 6. Honestly, it'll probably be 6.
Sixers and 6.
It's just coaching and like continuity.
Those games in Canada are gonna be tough, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But I'll say Sixers and 6. But if it, like we said though, if Harden shows up, this could be a quick series. It could be over fast.
I'll say this: if Scotty Barnes returns and plays the rest of the games, I think the Raptors win the series. If he misses 2 or more games, I don't think they can win.
Yeah, did we get the full?
I take the Sixers.
Did we get the full?
Not yet, because he just got hurt last night. Yeah. So we'll get the MRI today. But
you know how sprained ankles.
If he can return, I'm riding with I'm one of these guys, Terry, who always thinks coaching really, really matters in the playoffs. And I think there's a huge discrepancy in the level of coaching in these two teams. I think over a seven game series, Doc Rivers is going to get found out, and they're going to adjust.
So you're on
hey, we know Doc loves to go up 3-1. He does this, right? This is straight out of the James Harden, Doc Rivers playbook. So I'm not going to overreact to them winning game 1.
All right.
So Raptors is 7.
You're
Raptors is 7.
Whoa, Raptors is 7. All right, cool, whatever. So you're on the Bill Simmons train. You say Doc Rivers is a horrible coach. Got it. I
don't know horrible, but good. I'm starting to think like bottom third or the bottom of the middle third. Like, is he in your top 10 coaches in the league?
Nurse Rivers is probably number 12, but he's a good coach. He's still a good coach. I'm not going to say he's not a good coach. He's a good coach. He's just not a great coach. That's all I'll say.
He is a great coach. He's a great coach.
I think he's a good coach.
You talking about Nick Nurse?
No, I'm talking about Doc Rivers.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, okay. You messed me up when you said Nurse.
We call
Doc. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah. Sorry, we call Doc Rivers Nurse Rivers on this podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. Is he better? Is he a better coach than the dude out in Memphis? No.
Yet to see.
Is he a better coach than Monty Williams? No. Is he a better coach than Nick Nurse? No. Is he a better coach than Quinn Snyder? No. Is he a better coach than Ty Lue?
I don't know. He's up there.
Is he a better coach than Willie Green? I got to ask the question, Terry.
He's a better coach than Monty Williams, bro. He's got a chip. That's all I'm going to say. But we can't
just keep living in the past, Terry. We can't keep living in the past. Moses Malone is not showing back up for these 76ers, all right?
Yeah, we got.
And you know who's not showing up for the Bulls either? Michael Jordan to come save the day. Because that's probably what they'll need to have any chance of salvaging this first-round series against the Milwaukee Bucks, Terry. What's your first question for Bulls-Bucks?
Can the Bulls guard Giannis?
No.
Game over.
That's the answer. The guy who's going to be tasked with doing it is Patrick Williams, who missed the majority of the season. Yep. Patrick Williams, while being a big, strong, athletic kid, has never seen a guy like this.
No.
There's no one to guard him. He's the only answer. As soon as Williams gets in foul trouble, I don't know who they turn to. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, they're too short, bro, honestly. Like, Patrick Williams, he's a really good defender, but he can't stop him by himself. And then even when Giannis gets doubled, you're coming to double him with, like, Caruso, who's, like, 6'4", 6'5". DeRozan's, like, 6'5", 6'6". Levine, 6'4", 6'5". Like, they're just not tall enough. They're not tall enough to bother Giannis when he's holding the ball up above his head. It's just like 7'4" feet in the air, and he's like, all right, passing that over to Grayson Allen, passing that over to Continent. Like, I know they're not knockdown, shooters. I mean, Grayson Allen's a decent shooter. But, like, if you keep giving them multiple chances throughout the game, Middleton, Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, like all these guys, they're going to hit shots. Like, they won a championship doing this fucking formula. They're going to win. They don't have anybody to guard Giannis. This series is over. Plus, Levine, this is his first playoff series. He played like shit yesterday.
This is why I disrespected the Bulls all year long. Whenever it was like, oh, they're the number 1 seed, blah, 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 blah. I was like, they all right, but they're not real. And I said from the beginning of the season, they're like the 8 seed, and this is going to end up what they play like. Like, you're in the Eastern Conference against Giannis, against Embiid, against Jimmy Butler. You don't have anyone who can guard, and Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum. You don't have a guy on your roster who can guard any of the best players in your conference. You're not going anywhere. See you later. Hope you guys had a fun season in Chicago.
Yeah, and like we even saw in the game yesterday, the best player for the Bulls was Vucevic, and then DeRozan was probably second. But as you can tell, playoffs is different, man. Once the Bucks started playing some real playoff defense, I mean, the Bulls scored around 10 points in the fourth quarter. Like, they locked their ass down, bro. That was a tough game to watch for a Bulls fan. They couldn't hit any jumpers. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Zach LaVine looked like he's playing on 1 foot right now.
I don't know, man. They just got good defenders, bro. Drew Holiday's a fucking fantastic defender. I've been thinking on him for years, but he showed me a lot, man. This guy's a really good defender, bro.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for my question now, Terry.
What's that?
Because we knew the answer to yours real quick.
Yeah.
An emphatic no.
Yeah.
Mine is, as usual, Terry, all about the big man.
Okay.
And my question is on these 2 guys, Brook Lopez and Nikola Vucevic. For Brook Lopez, can he reintegrate himself and prove that he's a dependable playoff piece again like he was last year? He turned the series against the Hawks with his rim protection and his spacing. But if he's rusty and is shooting 15% on threes, you can't have him out there on the court. For Vucevic, they surrendered 2 picks and a good player to come get you. You know, Mo Wagner, they could have had, and another pick and somebody. Oh, and Wendell Carter, who's been playing better than Vucevic this year. So Vucevic has had a lot of proof. And my question for him is, can you prove that you can be a playoff piece going forward? Because this season is not about this season anymore for the Bulls. It's about who can be on our roster next season when we're actually trying to win it. And it's going to be a big question. Do you think he can show and prove, Terry? Or do you think he's gone come October?
I mean, this is tough, man. That's a good question. But Brody, I don't think he doesn't have it, man. I think this NBA is just too. He's an old player, man. He's not one of those futuristic guys. Like, he shoots okay from 3. He shoots okay from mid. His post game's good. But when he's going against guys that are big, like Embiid, Brook Lopez, fucking even like Jokic and all them, like dudes that are Robert Williams, I can keep it East Coast, Drummond, he has problems with these dudes. Brook Lopez was moving slow as hell, and Vucevic had hella wide open threes. I think he made 2. Let me take a look at the box score. My man Vucevic, he scored 24, but he went 2 for 10 from 3, bro. That's not going to do it for me. That's not. You got to knock those down, bro. And he seemed like he was the only one making shots, and DeRozan made a couple at the end, but if he's not, he gave me 24, but he shot it 27 times. The efficiency's got to be better. If you're not going to be able to make it even between the big guys, and it's Brook Lopez, he's not even like this great big man. He's
right. And we were talking about Vucevic like a big 3 when they trade for him. Oh, he's an all-star to go with the all-star and LaVine and go with the all-star and Lonzo Ball. It's like, no, he's really just fucking Zubac who played for the Magic and got to take a ton of shots.
Yeah, good stats, bad team. That's all I'm saying. He's good, but not good enough. And to answer your question between him and Brook Lopez, Giannis is the key factor, bro. It doesn't matter what they do. If they match even, which they look like they're going to do for each game, Vucevic scored 24, Brook Lopez scored 18. But Brook Lopez looked better than him at the end. At the end stretch of the game, Lopez looked better. That's it. Now, if it's even, the Bucks are going to win. I'm not going to say sweep.
If Lopez is all the way back, the Bucks, I think, got to be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's just a bad matchup in this series. The Bucks are going to win this one pretty easy.
Yep.
So.
All right, Terry, I have one bonus question for you, and this is just because I am a hater.
Go for it.
Do we see the DeMar DeRozan, the regular season MVP ballot guy, or do we see the DeMar DeRozan that we've seen in the playoffs every other year of his career?
just this ain't the series for him, bro. Unfortunately, this sucks for him, and this really sucks for him because he played. Can we both say my man he was playing like an MVP candidate, like pretty much for majority of the season. He looked great, but versus the Bucks, he looked pedestrian, bro. My man shot 24% in this fucking game. He shot 20 shots as well, and he made maybe 6 of them.
And all of them are the same type of shots he shoots regularly in games, and clanking them. Just like usual.
Yeah, just like
how many times has he done this, and we keep falling for the okie doke?
Toronto, man, this defense, bro. These 8 teams that go into the playoffs are good teams. Like the East is really good, and then the top 5 teams in the West are fantastic. Like the teams in the playoffs are good teams, bro. This is why DeRozan isn't a great player because we watch games in the regular season. Everyone is a prisoner. We're just like, oh man, he looks great. You watch him play against even playoff teams in the regular season, but they're not going 100% the whole game. You're like, oh man, he still looks great. Hit a bunch of game winners, but look at who those game winners came against. I can't name the teams off the top of my head, but I'm sure they weren't versus really good teams.
I can name one.
Hey, there you go. Hawks. You guys were 9 seeds, snuck in, beat the Cavs, with Jared Allen was coming off injury and all that, but it's tough, man. DeRozan just looks like shit. I'm sorry for him, but we got to move on.
So your answer is the Raptors DeRozan, not the MVP regular season DeRozan.
Nah. We're going to see Raptors DeRozan. Middleton and Drew Holiday are great defenders. Drew Holiday, of course, is better than Middleton, but Middleton's got height, so it's going to be tough.
So far, Terry, we've been pretty aligned so far, my guy. I don't know. I'm starting to – they need to do an update of your player in 2K and boost that basketball IQ score because you learned.
Yeah, man. Well, let's move on to the biggest matchup in the East Coast. Nets, Celtics. And we'll start off with my question. You had your question first in the last one. My question for this series is, are the Nets' defensive deficiencies going to cost them this series? What say you?
Ooh, that's a great question, Terry.
Because it looked like yesterday it pretty much did them in. It really just did them in.
I think for the Nets, this is the perfect matchup because no one on Boston can score besides Tatum and Brown.
Okay.
And so if they're 5-star alert on those 2 fires and everyone else, we can ignore a little bit more with the Marcus Smarts and the Tices of the worlds and the Derek White, who hasn't found his shot since being traded from San Antonio.
Not really.
And Robert Williams is out.
Yeah.
I think no. It doesn't kill him.
I agree with you because yesterday I think we saw some shit we probably won't see for the rest of the series. Al Horford scored 20, which is way more than his season average. Marcus Smart, I think he scored 20 as well, which is way more than his season average. Yeah, he scored 20. Horford scored 20. That's not happening again. But if one person steps up, I can see that happening. But both of those guys who don't score 20 a game, score 20, you can live with it. You get a win. But I don't see it happening every game. It's not.
For me, Terry, this is a perfect segue to my question, which is who are going to be the final 5 to finish games for the Nets? And if you go for shooting, like, they can, then you do have those defensive liabilities out on the court that could really end up costing you, like you allude to. But Steve Nash can be flexible in some of these lineups that he's playing out, and he doesn't necessarily have to sacrifice defense with that final 5. If your ending 5 is Kyrie, KD, Patty Mills or Dragic, Bruce Brown, and Nick Claxton, I think that's a pretty decent defensive team between Claxton, Bruce Brown, and Kevin Durant.
Kyrie is a horrible defender, bro.
No, he's not. What the fuck are you talking about?
Who was he guarding? He's a horrible defender. Did you watch?
No, he's not. Yeah, I watched the game. How many points did the Celtics score?
115.
Yeah, that's not blowing it out of the fucking water. They didn't drop 140 points. That's the average, Terry. That's the average.
That's not a lot of points in the playoff game.
I can't believe you're really going to sit here and call Kyrie a horrible defender. He's a good defender. He's a good defender. He is.
Let me say,
what are you watching? Like, you can look up any metric. You can like go back for years. Like,
I don't give a fuck about metrics.
Motherfucker strapped up. He strapped up Steph Curry in the finals. Terry, the reigning MVP. He can't play defense, and he strapped up the most dangerous offensive player in the world. He wasn't getting no help.
How long ago was that? 2016.
That's what I'm saying. He has a long history of being a good defender. He's been a good defender for 5 years. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about right now.
He's a good defender. He's a good defender. He has great hands. He has great agility. He has a strong frame. He has a high basketball IQ. Kyrie's problem is the Trae Young problem, that he constantly tries to switch on to bigger players that he has no business guarding. Like when he played for the Celtics and remember the last time? And he was calling out Giannis, insisting that he guarded Giannis and then got waxed over and over again. That's his problem, that he thinks he's Kawhi Leonard. But to say that he's a bad defender, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, you're the only person I've ever heard defend Kyrie on his defensive prowess. Now, I'm with you on the Steph Curry thing. I got you on that. But this strong defense that you're going at Kyrie like he's a good defender, this shit wild as fuck after Mark scored 20 easy fucking points. Jaylen Brown scored 23 easy. Like, come on, bro. Tatum scored easy buckets out there. Every switch, who do they want? Kyrie. They don't want fucking Bruce Brown or KD. They went at Kyrie's ass, and he couldn't do shit. End of the game, Kyrie just standing there like a fucking dumbass. Jason Tatum gets a free, easy layup. I don't want to hear that shit.
Now, that was retarded.
Bruce Brown?
But again, hold on. If your point guard is defending Jason Tatum, it doesn't matter who your point guard is. They're going to get cooked. That's not a recipe for success, putting your point guard on one of the 5 best scorers in the league.
Yeah, there's only a couple of point guards that can guard him. I got you.
Listen, man. Kyrie, I have been hard on Kyrie, but like regular season, he has big lapses in judgment. But when he's locked in and he's trying his hardest, like they're in the playoffs, he's a good defender.
Yeah, he looked real locked in on that layup.
He was locked in telling the crowd to go fuck themselves.
That was
throwing
crazy.
up middle fingers in the middle of the game and then saying in the post-game press conference, I decided to keep that same energy that they showed towards me.
This guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's an absolute dumbass. But anyway,
so who's your closing 5 then for the Nets?
It doesn't matter. They're not good defenders. Claxton and Durant. That's all I give you. And you can defend Bruce Brown all you want. I feel like he gets this reputation for being a good defender because he doesn't do a whole lot on offense like that. And everybody's like, oh, he's not good at offense. He must be pretty good at defense. That's why he's on the court. Jaylen Brown walked right through him for that layup. Who can Bruce Brown guard in this series? Just the point guard. But either him or Kyrie are going to have to guard the point guard. They can't guard Jaylen Brown.
He can guard Brown. It was a rough first game, but he can guard Brown.
All right, we'll see. This is scary, bro. Their defense, everybody kept talking about this, but it became a problem in that game winner. But I will say this. I am more encouraged because of what we talked about. The guys that scored 20 for Celtics were Smart and Horford. That shit's not happening every game. So we'll see how this goes. This is going to be closer than people. Well, a lot of people think it's going to be close, but I don't know if it's going to be as easy as Brooklyn thinks it's going to be.
I think Brooklyn has a lot of lineup flexibility with like who could be those last 5 guys. And they have a lot of different combinations that they can throw out there between Cam Thomas, Goran Dragic, Bruce Brown, Seth Curry, Patty Mills. That's firepower. And Terry, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the biggest question mark in terms of defensive versatility and in terms of this whole series. Ben Simmons. Is he going to come back?
I don't know. Is he the biggest person that's injured that comes back and makes the biggest impact out of every playoff team?
Luka
Doncic? Okay. And I thought Trae Young was better than him, but never mind.
Trae Young's not out.
No. I just, that question. We started to question it, but Trae Young scoring 8 points in the playoff game. Luka ain't doing that.
We'll see Luka get out of the first round before we start comparing him to a guy who went to the Eastern Conference Finals against the eventual champions.
No, that's good.
My point, though, is like these are all guys who I could see being on the court in crunch time. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, Goran Dragic, Nick Claxton, Cam Thomas. That's 10 guys. 10 guys deep that they can mix and match. They're not going to worry about foul trouble that much. They're going to ride the hot hand. I think they have a whole different group of guys that they can throw whatever matchups they like. I don't think they're going to get killed as bad on defense as it looks.
I don't know, man. This is the first one we disagree with. I just think their defense is going to do them in. And Boston, that job they did on KD.
Wait a minute. You said earlier you thought they were going to get away with it. When you asked this question, I was like, I think they're going to survive. I don't think it's going to cost them that much. And you're like, yeah, me too.
I was saying, like, I don't think it's going to cost them in terms of because Boston just played almost out of their head yesterday. That's what I'm saying. Like, if everyone plays back into the median of what it is, it's still going to be a close matchup. I just don't think Al Horford's going to score fucking 20 points in each game. And Marcus Smart shot the shit 17 times again, and he shot a 50%, shooting percentage. That's not happening every time.
I don't know. That looks sustainable to me, Terry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a close matchup, bro. But Boston has a championship defense. And we know. Everyone just seems to forget. You don't win because you're blowing people out with your offensive prowess. You have to play defense. You really do, man. And Kyrie and KD, great offensive players. Are they great enough for their defense to be that shitty? Like Seth Curry and Patty Mills and those guys are just useless in this series defensively.
So far, the answer has been yes. As bad as their defense has been with KD and Kyrie on the court this season, they've been plus 13 per 100 possessions with a moribund, awful, leaky defense that had more holes than Noah's Ark shot up in the middle of Chicago.
Yeah.
I got one last question on this series, Terry. One last one.
What's that?
At the end of Game 7, will Kevin Durant still be considered the best player in this series, or will it be Jason Tatum?
Oh, man, that's tough, bro. I think KD still got it, but...
Is this a snatching of the torch moment? Fuck passing of the torch. Is it a snatching of the torch moment?
It could be, but this is interesting. If it doesn't go 7 games and Boston wins, we can't look at KD the same, and we got to start giving this guy the criticism that he fucking deserves, bro, because he played like absolute shit, and we didn't even talk about it, really. LeBron, we would have been flaming his shit. We would have been flaming him. But I guess we just don't hold KD to the high standards that, I thought we did these superstars. We just let him get a pass.
Yeah.
Let him get a pass. He played like shit.
I mean, you're the one who put him on your All-NBA team.
You didn't put him on there? Get out of here.
I sure did. I put him and LeBron because I know basketball. Now, Terry, let's hop into PJ and head on over to the West Coast, the best coast, as they say.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I got Boston in 6, by the way. Tatum's taking
Boston in 6?
Tatum's taking it.
I got Nets in 7.
All right.
Nets in 7. All right. The next one, I guess we'll start with the least interesting one in the Western Conference. Let's get it out of the way early. That way we can talk about the other ones for the rest of the time, okay?
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns against the New Orleans Pelicans. My question is, can the Pelicans avoid a sweep?
Simple answer, no. All right, we can keep moving. My question is Alvarado an NBA player, or did he just get away with a contract?
Nah, he's an NBA player. I watched him shut down Austin Rivers in college. I was at that game, and I was like, Austin Rivers sucks. Or no, excuse me, Cole Anthony. Freudian slip. I watched him shut down Cole Anthony in college, completely outplayed him. And I was like, Cole Anthony sucks because he just got mixed up by a 5'10" Puerto Rican that'll never make it to the NBA.
So Alvarado played for that team?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was Wake Forest or Georgia Tech. It was one of those motherfuckers.
Oh, I thought it was HBCU or something that you went to go
No. It was an ACC school. It was one of the gold ones. I can't remember. It was Georgia Tech or Wake Forest.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy. Dude, he's tricky.
He was doing this shit in college. When he cooked Cole Anthony, I was like, oh, these guys legit. He's going to be good in Turkey one day.
Nah, that wasn't my real question. My actual question I wrote down was like, do we care?
No.
Exactly. Let's move on.
We're not. Zion Williamson is not playing.
No.
Okay. The only intrigue from this series is this for me, Terry. The Phoenix Suns last year in the finals got beat the hell up on the interior by Brook Lopez and by Giannis. This offseason, they addressed it by getting JaVale McGee. The Pelicans play with two bigs in Jonas Valanciunas and Jackson Hayes to end the season. Yeah. That's how they started the last 15 games. Those two guys, when they started together, were plus 10.
Yeah.
So that was a look that gave some teams problems with the Twin Towers. It was the Achilles heel for Phoenix. I don't think it'll end up hurting them too much in this series, but I think it's something to monitor going forward when we look at how Phoenix matches up against some of these bigger teams maybe. It's something to look down the road.
But in the West, I think they're good because Jokic is by himself, so he's really the only person that's big in the West.
I'm really talking about the NBA Finals when I'm saying that.
So if like the Sixers,
so if they have a ton of problems dealing with New Orleans two bigs, like that'll maybe give me cause for pause if they do match up with Milwaukee again. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, JaVale McGee's not doing anything different. Like, of course, he's a bigger body, but Valanciunas got 25 rebounds yesterday. It is what it is. The Suns just can't handle size. Like, that's just their Achilles heel. But it seems like it doesn't matter. If you got somebody as great as Chris Paul and as great as Devin Booker, and Ayton is still really good. He still grabbed 9 boards. It's still a fucking problem. But it's not going to be a big enough problem where they have to adjust to it. The other teams have to adjust to the Suns. It's the other way around. Like, Valanciunas could have grabbed 35 rebounds, but if you still lose by 11, easy. Like, the Suns didn't even look like it was a hard game. It doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah. And then Chris Paul just goes into cruise control in the fourth quarter. He scored 19 in the fourth quarter. Like, God damn.
I mean, like, I was looking at
See you later.
I looked at my guy Alvarado. I was like, damn. I really wanted him to steal Chris Paul's lunch, but that meant Chris Paul was killing him. Every pick, it was just.
Listen, man, anytime Chris Paul plays against a guard his size, he's going to dominate. You can't play him with a guy his size.
Yeah, let's move on.
That's all I got to say about this one.
Look, for time constraints, we're moving on to the next topic.
Unless you want me to do 8 minutes on Herb Jones, because I certainly could. I love Herb Jones.
Nah, I'm good. Sweet, buddy. This is sweet.
Herb Jones. There's no tangible difference between Herb Jones and Mikal Bridges, except one of them plays for a good team and the other plays for the Pelicans.
Move on.
All right.
Get out of my face.
Let's get the other one out of the way, Terry. Jazz versus the Mavericks. Terry, Luka, he strained his foot or something like that. He missed game 1. We don't know when he's going to return. They have no timetable. My question is, when is Luka coming back? If he comes back at game 3 and they're down 0-2, I still like the Mavs to win this series.
4-2, straight up. That's tough. That's tough. I feel like we disrespect the Jazz too much, but it's deserving.
If he missed more than 2 games, I got to rock with the Jazz. But if Luka, if he could play at least 4 or 5 games here, 5 games, I'll say, I'm giving it to the Mavs.
Yeah, I agree. But on the other end, my question is, can we finally see regular season Rudy Gobert? Or are we going to continue to see the guy who gets picked on in the postseason?
Well, because we saw him a little bit last night. He looked pretty good.
Yesterday, he looked quick, man. He looked different. He wasn't crossing his feet and shit. I was just like, who is this guy out here in the playoffs right now? He was looking way quicker than I've ever seen him. Like, I don't know what he did this offseason. I'm not going to say, like, I ignored him. But he wasn't on any highlights this year except for the Russell Westbrook dunk. But that's just, big guys going to get posted. That happens.
He's going to look great when you have Spencer Dinwiddie barreling down the lane 200 miles an hour, throwing up trash right so you can block it. He's going to look a lot less great when you're getting switched on to Luka Doncic at the top of the key, and he's hitting step-back threes right in your face.
And that was ultimately, like, the answer to the question. Because the guys that are going at you, and no disrespect to Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, but I guess they just ain't got it. Rudy Gobert was able to stay in front of them. He was able to hedge on all the picks.
We've seen the Spencer Dinwiddie as the #1 banana show in Detroit and in Brooklyn, and it's not pretty. And in Washington, for a while, they sucked. All right?
Yeah.
He's clearly a #2 or an off-the-bench guy. He's a secondary creator. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. He's not a run-the-show point guard, but he's a dude when, the defense is closing out hard to him, he could beat the first guy, then make a correct decision.
Yeah, that's true.
But to ask either one of these guys to step in and be a Luka facsimile is completely ridiculous. And there's no way the Mavs make it through without Luka. There's just no beating around the bush.
No, that's true. And also, I still don't give a fuck if the Jazz win. They're still going to lose. But is Donovan Mitchell actually going to step up in a meaningful moment? Or is he just going to continue to look like himself? Like just throwing up a bunch of bullshit-ass shots. Nobody cares.
I don't know what you're talking about. He stepped up every meaningful moment. The dude averages like 38 a game in the playoffs for his career. Like he's had 50-point games. He's had numerous 40-point games. The question to me is anyone else on the Jazz going to score? The second leading scorer is Bogdanovich.
Yeah.
I think that's not a great matchup with Dorian Finney-Smith checking him the whole time. I wouldn't expect Bogdanovich to have a lot of scoring. Jordan Clarkson is the #3 scorer. Mike Conley, he coming off the bench. Mike Conley's been a shell of himself all season. The Jazz don't even have a top 10 defense.
Jordan Clarkson is horrible.
I think if this series was healthy, I don't know anyone who'd pick the Jazz. The only reason they're in is because Luka's hurt. Let's just be real. And if the Jazz can't beat a Luka-less Mavericks team, if the Mavericks find some way to get this done without Luka and the Jazz capitulate, you can wave goodbye to Quinn Snyder and Donovan Mitchell this offseason.
Yeah, Donovan's gone. But this for me, like Donovan has to get it. With every game Luka's out, Donovan has to show up and they have to win. They have to. But at the same time, this is the reason why Dallas was so good this year. The guys that aren't Luka are fucking fantastic defenders. Like they're really good team defense. Like this shit's crazy. They're really good.
Yeah, and everyone fits their role well, And Dwight Powell's a guy who I've always liked, as a vertical floor spacer and a guy who can move his feet on defense. He's not like one of these lumbering guys on the perimeter. Dude, this series, man, it feels like a real turning point in the Jazz franchise history.
This is the last hurrah. This is the last hurrah, bro, because if they don't – even if they go to the second round, they got to show something there. And if they don't show anything there, I still think you blow it up.
Yeah. And the whole – let's be honest, the whole Rudy Gay experiment this season has been an unmitigated disaster for them. They brought in Rudy Gay from the Spurs in the offseason because they're like – when the Clippers went small, Gobert got played off the floor, and we absolutely got fucking killed. So we need to have a stretch 4. We need to have a small ball 5, a guy who can match up with those scenarios. Rudy Gay, they thought was going to be that guy. He has not been. He's not the answer. He's not going to be the solution to the playoffs. Rudy Gobert is going to have to sink or swim out there on an island.
He's got to do it. He's actually the guy. Like, I feel like everybody thinks about Donovan Mitchell just because he scores a lot. Like, we pay attention to offense more, but Rudy has to be able to stay on the floor versus guards. And also, Utah, stop fucking switching and making him look stupid. Like, that's killing me. If you want to win, you either have to have people that are switchable between 1, 2, and 3, and 4, or you have to be able to fight over these screens and double and hedge and do things like that because you're putting your big man out there to dry. Like, he's just looking stupid. But he looked good in game 1, but like we said, the guys aren't great drivers.
Yeah, playing drop coverage. And we already saw what Luka has done every single time against drop coverage.
Yeah. So, this series, it's hard to gauge the series without Luka coming back. But if Luka, I think Jazz still win if Luka comes back. He has to come back game 2 for me.
He has to come back game 2? All right, if Luka comes back game 3, you're taking the Jazz.
Yeah.
All right, if he comes back game 3, I'm taking the Mavs. If he comes back later than that, I'm taking the Jazz.
Cool.
All right, Terry, let's have some fun now. Okay? Let's boogie on down to Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
Should be part of the Eastern Conference, clearly, but for some reason they're in the West. They're taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. My question is, will Pat Beverly and Dylan Brooks make it out of the tunnel, or will they both get arrested for assault before the game starts?
Oh, man. I think they'll make it to the game.
Are we sure? Dylan
Probably.
Brooks saw Pat Bev on that scores table. He was like, not on us. I'll tell you that much.
Who do you think is about that action more, Beverly or Brooks?
Brooks.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I think Beverly is a little more talk than he is like action. I think Brooks is really about that action. Like Brooks, he talks, but he's not really like on some Beverly shit. Like Beverly is just too much talking, bro.
Brooks also has that irrational confidence where, like, he thinks that he'd win every fight, make every shot. I don't think he'd be afraid to back down at all on that one.
Yeah, nah, he does. So here's my first question. I got a couple. Is this going to be Ja Morant's coming out party? Or is this something that we just talk about as a failure for him? What say you?
Yeah, I could see it being his coming out party. The Timberwolves are an unusual team in that their rim protector doesn't play center. He plays power forward, and his name is Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And Karl Anthony Towns usually spends his time out more on the perimeter or in between areas.
Yeah.
I think that may have a factor in this game when you have a point guard like Ja who's relentlessly attacking the basketball or attacking the basket. And if you don't have that 7-footer there to help build that wall, if you're just counting on 6'10" Jared Vanderbilt to get it done as your only form of rim protection, I don't see that being a viable answer for the Timberwolves.
Nah, that's true. I think this is going to be one where we look at, because Ja is just so exciting, bro. Like, he's just an exciting-ass basketball player. And with them being the 2 seed, if they're able to, like, get rid of this game 1, go into game 2, maybe get a win, then we can start talking about Ja being, like, a really, really good player. But if he loses this, these guys are in trouble. So this is what I mean. These are, like, turning moments in a player's career, all right? Memphis, we know they don't really have, like, any experience playoff-wise. Minnesota, they don't really either. But you can't go down 2-0, though, because you don't have the moxie. Does Memphis have the moxie to come back down 2-0? I feel like they're going to panic. Everybody's young.
I think they got the moxie because they're used to, like, playing without Ja, adverse circumstances.
Regular season.
Yeah, I'm still not worried about the Grizzlies, man. I'm really not. I think that they're going to – No. They got a good offense, but – I'm going to give you my real question, Terry.
What's up?
Are we getting Big Cat or Little Cat? What has been the biggest knock on Karl Anthony Towns throughout his whole NBA career?
Soft as a baby's ass.
Who's he facing up against?
Steven Adams.
The strongest, most rugged center in the entire NBA. A guy who loves to bully people. Who plays with a level of physicality that's not matched by anyone in the league, not named Joel Embiid. You're going to have to answer the call, Karl Anthony Towns. Are you going to shirk and shy away from the moment like you did in the play-in game and play passenger as Anthony Edwards takes over and he says, I am the captain now? Or are you going to rise and shine, show and prove, and show the NBA public why you were voted the number 1 player that GMs would try to build their team around 4 years ago? Voted over every player in the league.
Which is kind of crazy, but his numbers were crazy. His numbers were a little nuts.
So that's my question. Is he going to be shook by the physicality of Steven Adams?
Nah, man. I don't think. Did you watch this game?
No.
Did you see it?
I didn't see game 1.
Have you seen
I watched the play-in, though.
Yeah. No, he was horrible in that playing game. That's an unfortunate game, but a lot of people who saw that one were just like, all right, we out on Cat. We're done with Cat. And it's weird because Batum played fucking excellent defense on this dude. But if you watch the Grizzlies play the Timberwolves all season, they can't continue this Steven Adams shit. He actually cannot guard Cat. Cat is too quick for him. He was absolutely destroying him going to the basket. He dunked all over Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm pretty sure you saw that play. He drove right by Adams. By
the way, goddamn, that may have been the highest I've ever seen a person's hand get in an in-game dunk. Karl Anthony Towns' hand, like his palm was above the square. Like I don't know if it was the camera angle or what, but it looked like his palm was above the top square.
I don't know. It was up there though. But Jaren Jackson got his shit dunked all over. Because Jaren Jackson's hand was above the rim as well. But they can't play Adams in this one. He just can't play in this shit. If you like Adams, Cat is not posting up. That's the thing. Like that's the shit. You know it, but like we kind of forget it. We think that like he's just gonna get bullied on the block, but Cat doesn't post up on the block.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So they put Jaren Jackson on him when he's on the perimeter. They put Steven Adams on him when he's near the block. And they beat the hell out of him on all the boards and the offensive rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns has always been a subpar rebounder. And now you got one of the best rebounders in the league and the biggest tough guy in the league. I think in terms of like, they always say styles make fights.
Yeah.
There's no question that Karl Anthony Towns is more talented than Jaren Jackson or Steven Adams. But Steven Adams still has a puncher's chance. And I think for a guy who's been very comfortable playing the victim throughout his NBA career and playing the guy who's gotten bullied by whereas the Morris twins or Blake Griffin or whoever, we've seen Karl Anthony Towns shrink and look soft time and time and time again. And I don't see why it'll be any different this year.
He's going to kill Adams, bro. I'm telling you. You got to watch a game, and you'll understand.
I watched Karl Anthony. I've watched the Timberwolves like 25 games this year. Don't you dare tell me you got to watch the games. You didn't even know Jarek Vanderbilt was until 20 games ago. How dare you?
Who Jarek Vanderbilt was.
Fuck out of here. You thought he was light-skinned.
Nah, I'm telling you, bro. Cat kills fucking Adams, bro. And Jaren Jackson has to stay in the game. He was in foul trouble in this game, too. He be fouling the shit out of people all the damn time.
That's why he wasn't on my DPOY ballot.
Hey, he played fucking 24 minutes.
All right, answer my question then, Terry.
Yes, it's both.
Can the Timberwolves hang with the Grizzlies bench mob?
No.
Grizzlies had the best bench in the league. Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton, who you put on your six-man of the year short list, Kyle Anderson slow-mo, and the human pogo stick himself, Brandon Clark. They've been killing teams. The Timberwolves bench is terrible. They don't have fucking anybody.
They don't.
Over a 7-game series, I see this playing out big time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, Malik Beasley played out of his head. He didn't normally play like this. He scored 23 fucking points. And then also the other guy on that bench scored 15. McDaniels, he hit a bunch of good, like, wide open, crucial threes in this game. And they don't normally play like that. They played out of their head. But, I mean, you need those guys to step up. You heard Shaq say this a million times. The others got to step up. D'Angelo Russell is kind of part of that equation, too. If he plays well, they should kind of blow them out in certain games. If he can get 25. If everybody can get 20.
Hold on, you're thinking the Timberwolves are blowing the Grizzlies out?
If D'Angelo Russell scores 25, they can blow them out.
This is shocking to me, man. This is very So you're picking the Timberwolves. That's what it sounds like. All this talks of blowouts and Steven Adams not being able to guard their best player and all this shit. It sounds like you got to be picking the Timberwolves, right?
Here's my thing, though. We know who wins championships and who don't. I don't think Memphis is a contender because you have to go through a run. They have not gone through a run together. You can't just be the new upcoming team that goes straight to the finals or go straight to the Western Conference Finals. That shit does not happen. It just doesn't. Like, I believe that Memphis was a good team this year. Tyler Jenkins deserves respect for doing what he does. Last year was an anomaly. You see this year, the Hawks look like shit. But that's all I'm saying, bro. I'm saying if they go down 2-0, they're not winning this series. Now, I think that Memphis is going to win the series, but Minnesota's going to make it tough. Patrick Beverley, he has playoff experience. Doesn't he have a ring, if I'm not mistaken? He has a championship ring, right? Dude's got playoff pedigree. Anthony Edwards ain't scared of shit. He thinks he's the best player on the court. And with them talking to Cat and D'Angelo, saying, look, guys, we got to step up. We got to play hard. It's going to be different. Memphis, this isn't easy, bro.
Hey, with respect to Anthony Edwards, it's great that you think you're the best player on the court, but you're not. John Morant is the best player on the court, which is why he was in people's MVP voting, which is why the Grizzlies is going to win this series. And by the way, they were fucking 20-5 without John Morant. Cool. Their best player. This is not going to be a hard series. I'm not worried about the Timberwolves. Grizzlies in 6.
I said the same thing as you, but how do we get to the same destination when we feel the opposite about the team? That's cool, though.
Only here on the HLS pod, man. All right, Terry, we saved the best for last, man. That's what all the fireworks have been for. Styles making fights. We got floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. The Golden State Warriors with 3 Splash Brothers going up against the Denver Nuggets and the big coal mine himself, Nikola Jokic. Oh, man. You gave your question first for the last one. I'll give you mine first for this one.
Go ahead.
Are there now 3 Splash Brothers?
No. It's close, though. It's close. I think the Warriors have found something that they've been missing. Bonafide scoring off the bench. They found something that they've been missing, and this is some scary shit. Now, listen to me when I say this, and I feel like you think the same thing. You let these Warriors mess around and keep playing with this high-intensity offense, with Jordan Poole coming off the bench, giving them 20, getting them 18, with Wiggins as your 4th banana or 5th banana. This is a championship team, bro. This is definitely a championship team, and I think everybody needs to watch out for this shit because this is scary as hell. What say you about Jordan Poole?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, man. I mean, the difference in the bench production, it's really a big part of this. I have to credit Klay as well for being good enough to now return to the starting lineup, for being good enough for them to count on his defense and his shot making, that they now can take Jordan Poole and bring him off the bench and feature him more as a primary scorer in that way. Because if Klay was still looking like he was a month and a half ago, Jordan Poole would still be in the starting lineup. So, first of all, credit goes to Klay. I'm going to say they do have 3 Splash Brothers now. I think that they found something that's real. To shoot 60% true shooting percentage on the type of shots that Jordan Poole takes is extremely impressive. And he's a bad shot maker, a bad shot taker, a good shot maker, and a good shot taker, all rolled into one.
Yeah.
Beyond his shooting ability, he's fast as fuck. Like, Jordan Poole is a hell of an athlete. He's a way better athlete than Steph Curry is. And we've got to see that side of him more coming off the bench, too, is getting him work in transition and get the fuck up the court. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. I think there are 3 Splash Brothers now. I think the West better look out.
They definitely need to, bro. But this is what I was saying. The West is not as strong as everybody thought they were. The Warriors and the Suns, I think, are the only people that can win.
I disagree with you. I thought you said the top 5 in the West were strong, and I totally agree with that. I think.
Well, I mean, 5 are great.
I think the Suns are great. I think the Grizzlies can't be slept on, even though you think they're still a bit green.
There are tiers.
I think the Mavericks with Luka, a healthy Luka and the Mavericks,
they're good.
You up there in the top tier with me. Like, since they trade Porzingis with the healthy Luka, they've looked fantastic.
They looked okay. They're pretty good.
So we got, and then who's the 5th team out there in the West? Nuggets.
Not Nuggets. No. Who did you say?
Warriors, Dallas, Suns, Grizzlies.
Shit.
Is it the Nuggets?
I guess that's it. It's not the Nuggets. It ain't the Nuggets.
It's the Nuggets.
It's definitely not the Nuggets. It's not the Nuggets.
It's the Jazz. But we don't care. So we'll say the top 4. Top 4.
4. I'll give them 4. Damn. That sucks.
I'll give them 4 too.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, so we'll keep talking. My question is, and I don't dislike Nikola Jokic, so this isn't a shot. It's just a question for him. Is he great enough to steal 2 games out of this series?
I think so.
Ooh.
I think so. I think the big thing is he's got to get Draymond and Looney in foul trouble. I think the blueprint that he actually had in Game 1 was successful, but he didn't execute it. Be more aggressive shooting the ball as a scorer to get those 2 guys in foul trouble. because if Draymond or Looney isn't on the court, they're fucked. There's no way they're guarding Denver. Their bigs are terrible.
Yeah.
And Looney is actually a decent matchup for Jokic because they're both big, strong, smart, below-the-rim guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's kind of like a bigger, much more talented Looney anyway. So Looney kind of has an idea of how to handle him better than a lot of players do, I would say. So if Jokic can get those guys in foul trouble, I think he takes those 2 games. If they can stay disciplined and they keep digging in with their guards on Jokic and then just making Austin Rivers shoot 14 threes a game, it's going to be a long series. Or a short one, rather. 4 games.
It might end up being a sweep. It's tough, man. Like, I think Jokic is great. It's just unfortunate, like, that his teammates.
It's unfortunate that we didn't get Murray and Porter back because after all those reports, they're like, "Oh, Porter's playing 3-on-3, Murray's doing this." They're going to be back in time for the first round. Nah. This would be the series in the entire NBA to watch if both these teams are healthy. I would be glued to my television. It sucks that we're robbed of that.
It sucks for me, bro, because like I feel like Jokic just wasted such a great season, man. He just wasted this fucking season. Just wasting his feet, wasting his knees, just winning the MVP for no fucking reason. Like, this is one of the ones where I wish, like, he just would have coasted for a little bit. Like, play great. It's cool. We know you're fucking great. You know what I'm saying? And he probably is going to be back-to-back MVP. But sometimes it's just like, break your hand like Steph Curry and then end it. Just shut it down.
I think Jokic, like, he has to play actually every day. Like, he's still in the process of getting in shape. Oh. Like, I think their plan for him is if we just keep him playing basketball every day for 6 years in a row, by the time he's 30, he's finally going to have a six-pack.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. That'd be funny as fuck if he got a six-pack. He did lose so much weight, too. He still looks like he's not in shape. But
he did. Terry, I got a stat for you, though. And this isn't a Nuggets stat. This is a Warriors stat. And it's a scary stat. In 129 minutes, the Warriors have played Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Jordan Poole together on the court. The Warriors are plus 96.
Yeehaw. Good Lord. That's a lot of shooting.
Plus 96 in 120 minutes. That's almost unfathomable.
That's
running through the league.
That's championship basketball right there. But can they beat the Suns, though? The Suns' defense is really good. We know what this series is going to be. Do you think the Warriors are going to sweep them, or do you think Jokic is going to steal one game?
I think Jokic should steal 2. I still do think he could steal 2. Again, like I said, if he gets those in foul trouble. If Draymond, it all depends on the referee. If Draymond gets 3 fouls in the first quarter, they absolutely could win that game, for sure.
The Nuggets are a bad team, brother. You know?
They're not a good team, but
they're a bad team.
They got the best player in the world, and
he's a top 5 player, but
I'm still at least giving him a game.
He's a top 5 player, but I don't think he's going to steal a game. I think the Warriors are sweeping them. They're not
ready for the
defensively, man.
Are you ready for the most irrelevant question that only I would ask in this series?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can Boogie Cousins dominate Golden State's second unit?
Jesus Christ. I don't even yes, but I don't think it matters, honestly. Like, even if he – what do you mean by dominate? Like, just fucking –
I mean, they don't have no bigs.
They don't. But, like, you're saying, like, if his plus minus is, like, 10, like, plus 10, like, complete and total domination?
Like, he's got to fuck him.
I don't know, man. I don't think he's good enough anymore, bro. It's too many injuries. He just
I'm rooting for an old dude, bro. But, like, you're going to have Kuminga guarding you and some, like, guys who are not bigs, like Bielitsa and dudes like that. Like, the opportunity is there. And honestly, Boogie, if you can't feast on the Warriors' collection of backup big men, then you should not be in the NBA. And you won't be next year. Because this is the worst group of big men in the entire league. And if you can't feast on that, then there's no point having you on the roster, bro.
Well, here's a separate question. If Jokic can't steal a game, do you think he's a top 3 player in the NBA?
Yeah,
he can't steal one game.
I'm not going to react like that to a dude not having all his teammates there, but I would think that there would be. I would think that it would change the narrative in terms of, is he a floor raiser or a high ceiling guy in terms of does he have the highest ceiling to win in the biggest moments, or is he a guy that once you add him to your team, you're going to win 50 games no matter what, and he's going to bring everyone's level up?
Okay, I got you. That's fair because I think he's great. It's just this season's just a wash, dude. It's just a wash. It's unfortunate, and I think he played at an MVP level. Like
he honestly, Jokic reminds me, and to some extent, this is all big men who don't dribble. You are dependent on guards to get you the basketball in positions where you can be effective.
Yeah,
and like we wouldn't have seen Tim Duncan be revered the same way and win all those chips without Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili getting him the ball in those favorable positions. If he spent his career with fucking Damon Stoudemire or Salim Stoudemire or somebody like that, somebody who just wants to, he's not having the same type of career. And I think Jokic to some extent falls victim to that, and it's even more glaring without having Murray in the game.
Yeah. Jokic, I swear, like Jokic could benefit having like Jalen Brunson. Like they'd be a way better team if like they had Jalen Brunson.
Dude, look at his team. Everyone is either rookies or guys who were not in the NBA last year.
Except for Aaron Gordon and Will Barton. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah, and Monte Morris.
Yeah.
But Austin Rivers was out of the league. Boogie cut out of the league. Zeke Naji, 4-year senior at like UCLA. Bones Highland was busy diving out, burning buildings. Like, come on, man. We can't put this one on Jokic. I don't think that's fair.
It's just one of those things where just like I just like trolling people that want Jokic to be the MVP. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, is Jokic even top 20 center of all time?
Oh my God!
Good stats, bad team, baby.
He's a white skin Arvydas Sabonis.
Nah, it's gonna be listen to me. And this is one thing I want to have this debate about Jordan and LeBron one day. The 90s is trash because Jokic is better than Patrick Ewing. Jokic is better than fucking not Olajuwon, but he's close. He's up there. He's a fucking monster. And then also, who was back there? Is there another center that was even as good as him?
First of all, who was an average player in 1995? Who would you consider an average NBA player?
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper. Who's an average NBA player now?
Right now? Average? Brandon Ingram.
No, he's above average. He was bubble all-star team.
Miles Bridges?
Sure. Maybe a little better than average again. But we'll go with it. Let's say, what about RJ Barrett? Average NBA starter.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Who's better or worse? RJ Barrett or your boy from 95?
Yeah, you're right. But that's going to be a big conversation I'm going to have when the season's over. I think we're going to have to do it.
I'm excited.
This Michael Jordan shit's got to fucking stop. But you want to do the habitual last step of the week?
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, guys, that was our NBA playoff preview. Oh, Terry, we can't do that without you first giving your unprepared for, unfounded, irrational, non-data-driven prediction for who's going to win the NBA championship this year.
Ooh. Oh, this is easy. Easy champions right here. I got Nuggets. No, I'm just playing. Suns are probably going to win it all. With the caveat of if they play the Bucks, they're losing. So I got Suns Celtics. Suns over Celtics, 7 games.
I got Warriors Heat. Warriors.
I'm sleeping on the Heat hard as shit this year. I'm not going to lie. I am. But I respect it. I do.
All right. Well, Terry, the heat is on across the pond on USA's own Zach Steffen. The U.S. men's national team #1 choice for goalkeeper made one of the worst goalkeeping errors I've ever seen in my life, Terry.
Put the clip up. Jesus Christ. It's horrible.
We'll let them watch. I will put the clip up.
Yeah.
I'll let them watch. They pass it back to the goalie. And I don't know if Zach Steffen didn't see that Mane was running to steal the ball, or frankly, I don't know what happened. I don't think he, to this day, knows what happened either. But he just decided not to pass it, not to clear it, took a first touch to the left, and let it get slide tackled right in his own goal.
Right to the goal, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. Look, man, you got to pay attention. You could have got hurt on that fucking play. You're so dumb. Like, he wouldn't. I don't think he saw him at all. Was it the fucking shadows in the sun? Like, Mane was coming from the sun side. You couldn't see him because the sun's so bright in that dumbass stadium.
I don't know. Maybe he thought just Mane was a defender's shadow. I'm not sure, Terry. All I know is that Loris Karius actually attempted to pass that pass that Benzema stole.
Yeah, he did.
Your boy didn't even attempt to pass. He tried to dribble on the goal line.
Yeah, because
he tried to dribble him, Terry. He tried to dribble him.
Zach Steffen's leg did not attempt to wind back for a pass. He just took another touch forward, and then he was like, oh, what the hell just happened? It's egregious. Is it fireable, though?
Honestly, I thought his controller went dead for a second.
I thought he had a stroke. Is it fireable? Is he gone from Man City next season? He did sign an extension, I believe. So, I mean, he's there.
No, he's their backup keeper. They don't give a fuck. Like, they don't care about winning the Caribou Cup anyway. But like I said, they signed him on a big deal anyway. But the bigger question for me is not is he out at Man City? Is he out in the Stars and Stripes?
Come on, dog. Stop it. Who's Matt Turner? That's what we're doing. Ochoa? Are we doing that? He had a bigger blunder than fucking Steffen. Honestly, if we're being honest, whose fucking blunder was bigger in a bigger situation? Ochoa's or Steffen's?
Steffen's.
Shit.
It's in a fucking cup final.
Semifinal.
All right, whatever. Like, to get to the final.
The team right here.
Who was Ochoa playing against?
Yeah, but they didn't play the starters. They played fucking Nathan Ake and Zinchenko and Josh Stones. Yeah. Starters Laporte and Diaz.
And him. He's not a starter either.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't want to win this game. Liverpool was winning in every intention. They're like, look, we want to win it all. Which I agree with. I think you should win every single trophy you can get. But at the end of the day, one blunder isn't going to make his whole career. That's all I'm saying. I don't think anyone's good enough to take his spot.
Terry, I think that would be the case if it was one blunder. But we've seen now this has been multiple occasions where Zach Steffen has been suspect with the ball at his feet and on set piece scenarios. You know, in the what was it, the Costa Rica game?
Costa Rica, yeah.
Fucks up both goals there. Then not a month later, you know, he fucks up two more against Liverpool. Terry, we didn't even talk about their third goal, which is a half volley that beat him on the near post. Like, that's completely unacceptable. Beyond a distribution point, as a shot stopper, you can't do that either. So
that's true.
He's not inspiring any confidence right now. He certainly hasn't been on the incline. In fact, his performances have only gotten worse the last 3 years. Is it too early? Huh?
Who's going to replace him?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Terry.
There's only one name for me. But I'll let you go first.
It's only one name for me, too.
Who is it?
Gabriel Slonina.
All right, explain to me who that is.
Gabby Slonina?
Explain to me who that is.
For the uninitiated, Gabby is a 17-year-old. He plays for the Chicago Fire.
Fire.
He's the best goalie in the MLS as a 17-year-old. He has dual citizenship between Poland and America, and this is not a guy we want to lose. If Zach Steffen isn't the answer going forward, let's not sacrifice on the next guy who is. We're not winning this World Cup anyway. Bring in Slonina. Let him take Steffen's place. Let's start the next cycle.
That's what we're doing? That's the guy?
No, that's tongue-in-cheek, man. Obviously, you're not going to bring in a junior in high school to come start in the World Cup. That's just a lot of what I've been seeing on the U.S. men's national team forums and stuff. There's no question that he's super talented. But, Terry, this is the state of American goalkeeping. That It was once the strongest position in our entire team. And now we're having to turn to unknown 17-year-old prospects who play in the MLS.
We don't have to do that because I know who the replacement is.
Who?
Ethan Horvath. You heard about him?
Yeah, he doesn't start for his club team.
Nah, he
they're
moved.
not a good team.
He plays for Nottingham now.
Yeah, they're not. He doesn't start. They suck.
He doesn't start there either?
No.
Oh, man. I've seen this dude make fantastic saves for all his teams in all situations. This dude needs to be a starter, bro. He needs to get
He's
more
good,
minutes.
but he doesn't play. And Matt Turner just said he's going to be a backup at Arsenal. So it's now all three of our top keepers are all backups, Terry. No one's fucking starting. A long way from the years where Tim Howard was winning PFA goalkeeper of the year for the Premier League.
Yeah. I don't know,
People
man.
were saying Casey Keller was better than him. And Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel was probably the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. I mean, besides a couple performances from Tim Howard, if you go back into the archives, that man Brad Friedel was making some fun.
He's nasty. He is nasty. So what do you do now if you're Bear Halter? You stick with the status quo? Do you threaten Stefan and say, if you ever do that shit again, you're never put on the Stars and Stripes? Do you put your arm around a young man and say, hey, every goalkeeper makes mistakes. Just most people weren't as high profiles as you in an FA Cup semifinal against Liverpool with the whole world watching, but everyone makes mistakes. What do you do, Terry?
Here you go, your harshness again. Look, man, he did make some egregious mistakes in a couple of games back-to-back in performances that we saw. But at the end of the day, we're sitting here and it's April 18th, 2022 on a Monday. World Cup doesn't start until next end of fall. There's a lot of time and a lot of performances yet to be seen. All right, my guy. There's a lot of friendlies coming up. We can evaluate those. He's fucking up, and he needs to be held accountable. But until somebody steps up, my man is just sitting there like Nikola Jokic. Who's behind me, brother? No one. I'm starting. That's it. Okay? Nothing you can do.
Yeah, and he's felt that way for the last 3 years, which is perhaps why he has not improved at all, despite for playing for one of the greatest coaches in history. You think you'd get better moving from Frankfurt to Man City?
No, that's true. But also, I'll say this though: Ochoa did mess up for us in an important game, for USA. But we got to stop doing this shit where someone fucks up in one game that's important. Except for real life World Cup qualifiers.
No, I disagree with you on this one.
Bro,
first of all,
playing his ass off.
First of all, Ochoa is a Mexican.
Oh yeah,
right?
I forgot.
Yeah, he's not playing for us again, so I don't want to hear his name on this podcast again. All right, Terry?
We lost him. I told you we did it.
He sucks. He's not good. Good. Go replace. I hope every goalkeeper for Mexico for the next 100 years is named Ochoa. Just keep the continuity. That's totally fine with me. Go ahead, David. We don't want you anyway. You go over there. We got Slonina coming through the pipeline, doing things you couldn't imagine it doing. David.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck having your waves grow in, bud. David. I bet.
All right, bud. Another one for the books.
Yeah, man. So you're straight up taking David Ochoa over Zach Steffen? That's what you said?
Straight up.
Straight up.
Switch him back.
All right. Well, I think we found our new number 9, Terry. Once again, thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Habitual Line Steppers podcast. Drop a line in the comments. Let us know. Do you like the new intro? Should we keep it the same? Do you want the music back? Should I just sing the entire podcast?
Oh, God.
Let us know in the comments.
That shit. Peace. Thank you for stepping across the line with us for another week.
That's right.
Continue to stand up, North Carolina.
Thank you for listening to our podcast this evening. Thank you. You're far too kind.